Hello everyone, hope you're all doing well. Today we're going to be doing a quick flight back in Japan on our Q400, dash Q400, operated by Alpha Wing. This is going to be a flight out of Kagoshima, all the way back to CHUBU CENTRAIR, which is a home base for Starflyer, which is one of the subsidiaries for ANA too, just like Alpha Wing. So let's get going. We have ATC online and we have to get going. Thank you for joining, thank you for watching. Hopefully everything will go well. I've made some few changes in the simulator, and this is my first flight after those changes. So hopefully nothing bad will happen. I have already started FS2 crew, so we're good to go. We can start with our checks here. I'm gonna turn this on right away because I know it's gonna be a problem. It might fog the windows, so our fire test, flight data recorder test. Okay, the lights, everything looks normal. We're gonna arm this. Non-smoking sign goes to on. Have counterclockwise auto. Landing altitude will be 0. Okay, lights we have set. Can bring this circulation on, and we are gonna test the lights. Okay, and we want to open the engine intake. Down here off. We can test ADC. Stall warning 1 and 2. Test.
Hi guys, can we start boarding now?
Yes.
Thank you, talk to you again soon.
Okay. 15. Taxi. Gonna set to MDA. I need to get the weather information we're gonna be getting soon, so we'll work on that soon. Gear is down. Idle. Fuel off. Start our radios. Elevator trim test. Nav source. Yaw damper. We're gonna probably be going heading select and out cell on departure. Nav, so everything looks good. Radar is off. All the trims look good. All 3 of them. And here we want, does it have battery? Yes. We want door. There we go. Let me make sure. This is all good. And then right away we're gonna just take a look at the latch real quick. Okay, let's work on our flight plan. So we're accepting April 22nd, so we have 2 more days on this. Our preliminary numbers are 0 fuel weight 53,294. Alternate 1350. Hold 161. extra 1454 for a total of 6740, which is gonna end up being 68 probably. So we're gonna put a release of 6740 for now. The next page we're gonna add, it's gonna be plus 9, plus 9, and we can work on our flight plan. So we're gonna be leaving RJFK. It's not New York. It's Kagoshima. And according, actually what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a clearance first. I often make mistakes on Japanese flight plans. So, and they have to correct. So might as well get a clearance first, because if you have to change something, we'll do it right away. First, I just need to double check, since we're flying the dash. There we go. We have the proper push to talk. Okay, so we have tower online. It's just to make things a little bit more complicated. We have Miyazaki, which is right beside us online, and one has the tower, the other has approach departure. So I just want to make sure that we are talking to the appropriate person. 21-4. We can actually turn this on.
Back from the walk around, everything looks good.
So it's 21-4.
Nieta, Indo 290 degrees data knot, temperature 16 QNH, 2993 inches. 2993 inches, total 3 Papa, listen ready for departure. Direct action, happy 03 Papa, Roger, right now approved, window 290 degrees, 8 knot, runway 10 clear for takeoff. Runway 10 clear for takeoff, airspeed 803 Papa, and request for straight out departure, please. 803 Papa, Roger. After airborne, make straight out. Okay, make straight out, airspeed 803 Papa.
Kagoshima approach, Jetta Pajama Fabric, request to Tango to intersection departure, please.
Director for 015 Roger, Tango to intersection approach. Window 300 degree 7, runway 34, Tango to clear for takeoff.
Tango to clear for takeoff, 015 Echo.
Director for 015 Echo, and after airborne, fly heading 070.
Heading 070, 015 Echo.
What we can do first, just before he might ask if we have weather. So let's go to our, let's go to our Unilink and at least get the weather for
Airpage 803 Papa, report
Kagoshima.
leaving Utah control zone. Airpage 803 Papa, report.
He might ask if we have weather. It's always good to contact knowing what's going on. Okay. So the weather is from from 12 on the 20th. I'm just gonna write down real quick what's pertinent to our departure, temperature, and
Light slow.
it is unfortunate that when you look for meter and TAFs online, you get inches of mercury. Hectopascal. But we want inches of mercury. So what we can do is cheat a little bit with the tool tip there. So we want QNH 1015, which translates in to 907. It's funny how here it says to 908. So we can always use the field elevation to set our altimeter when that's a good tip when you don't have weather information. You just set to the field elevation. That will give you the altimeter setting. Okay, let's talk to
Beach 803 Papa, 5 miles east of you, leaving control.
Of course, I decided to talk when,
Beach
when
803 Papa, Roger,
he had a break there.
Change frequency, Beach 803 Papa.
Kagoshima radar, konbanwa. Alpha Wing 358, Q400 here at Kagoshima. We are on the stand 1-2 and we're looking for IFR to CHUBU CENTRAIR.
Alpha Wing 358, Roger, 300 yards.
Standing by, Alpha Wing 358, arigato.
Kagoshima approach Gillette Fazer Fabeco, passing 2000, Philip 070.
Gillette Fazer 150 Echo, Kagoshima radar contact. This time town light heading 110, sector to Miyazaki Airport. Climate maintain 6, this time climate maintain 6000.
Town light 110, climate maintain 6000, Gillette Fabeco.
Alpha Wing 358 clearance.
Go ahead for Alpha Wing 358.
Alpha Wing 358, clear to CHUBU CENTRAIR International Airport via midday to departure, flight and route. Maintain flight level 170, squawk 1511. Go ahead.
Alpha Wing 358 is clear to CHUBU CENTRAIR, departure midday 2. Initial climb flight level 170 and 1511 in the box for Alpha Wing 358. Arigatou gozaimasu.
Alpha Wing 358, no problem. Your readback is correct. Departure runway 34. Window 300 degree 7 knot. QNH 29997. Report finity.
Runway 34 for departure, and we get the QNH, the altimeter setting, and we'll report Alpha Wing 358. Thank you.
Japan, Juliet Alpha 015 Echo, town light heading 130.
Okay, we got what we wanted. So let's real quick here. RJFK. There's many ways to do this. I always do it in a different way. I like to what's the word that I'm looking for? Just 1 second. I forgot to add cards south. There we go. This is card south. And the approach will be runway 36 Zulu.
P3Dv4 Papa, this time squawk 1540 ident.
Okay, sorry about that. I like to, so what I was saying, I like to experiment with flight plans. There's so many ways to enter a flight plans. It's always nice to do different ways. Okay, so departure runway 34.
P803 Papa, squawk
Midday 2
ident.
departure, so number 1.
1540 ident, P803 Papa.
And that should give us, it's always good to double check.
You are 1 east mile west of Miyazaki VOR. Action, east of Miyazaki VOR. Standby clearance, maintain VMC.
Okay, so from there, we're gonna get Mike 750. All the way to, that's the first way, but Mad Dog. Okay, to Mad Dog. And then Yankee 753. All the way to Jackal.
Japan 1891, Kagoshima radar, radar
Then
contact.
Alpha
Climate
1.
maintain flight level
Oh,
150.
no. Okay, and then
P803 Papa clearance.
I have to highlight no.
P803 Papa clear
Then
to
Alpha
Miyazaki
1.
VOR via radar vector.
To Albat.
Maintain
Then
maintain 3, maintain
Yankee
3500.
755.
Squawk,
There's a lot
nothing
of
zero.
tunas. Then direct cards.
P803 Papa, Roger, this time clear to Oyodo via
To RJGG.
present position
Good
direct.
old CHUBU CENTRAIR.
Clear to Oyodo by present position direct, P803 Papa.
And that arrival will be runway 36. Oh.
P803 Papa, clear via Oyodo direct to Miyazaki VOR.
runway 36. We're going to be using card south, so number 1. And the approach is ILS Zulu.
Confirm ILS approach.
Okay, and let's double check. This is important. Like I said, it's not as precise sometimes as the FMS. So we'll be, we can delete one of the probes. Oh no, actually not that one.
After complete execute Miyazaki departure Miyazaki.
So will be the cards, Golf 650 probe. Yeah, that's what we want. And our no link for our approach. Just want to double check that we don't have 2 cards. No, from Tunas we have 1 card. Beautiful, we're set. Let's take a look at the holding. There's a holding a probe. Yeah, holding a probe is here. So it's 175, 355, 175. Right turn. Yeah, and direct entry will be for us if we're coming from our flight plan.
Juliet Alpha 015 Echo, turn left heading 0990.
Left 0990, 015 Echo.
Okay. Looks like we're ready to go on this with flight plan. We're gonna 10 minutes. We're roughly 10 minutes from start, so we're gonna start our APU. Let it run for a little bit before we bleed air from it to avoid O2 carbon monoxide poisoning.
Kagoshima radar camera 1 airborne leaving 1800 45150.
Camera H1 Kagoshima radar contact. This time turn left heading 210. Vector to intercept Miyazaki.
So let's wait a few minutes before we unplug the external power and we run on the APU only.
This time fly heading 210 intercept Miyazaki.
Okay, regarding the departure, we can do this too. So it's staying as the XS, seat and top leads and no concerns. We can put that terrain on both. Then he will set for us.
Are you ready for the departure briefing?
Go ahead.
This will be a standard left seat departure. We are at a remote stand and no pushback is required, so I'll be starting the engines. The departure runway and taxi route will be as assigned by ATC. For the taxi, this airport uses ASDEX, so turn the transponder on for taxi. Nav source for the departure will be heading select. Anti-ice is required, we'll use level 1. As for the takeoff plan, we'll use flap 5. For the routing itself, the departure will be an ATC assigned SID. We'll use NTOP for the takeoff power, and the blades will be on. For the safety brief, any abnormality prior to 80 knots, I'll stop the aircraft on the runway. After 80 knots, I'll stop for an engine failure or fire. Anything after V1, we'll take it airborne. You let the tower know we've had an emergency and we'll need straight out. At 1000 feet, we'll engage alt hold, accelerate to V climb, retract the flaps and engage IAS mode for our V climb, and complete the memory items. Any questions?
That's checked. No questions.
Departure briefing complete.
Okay, let's set the numbers on our FCU here. And radio, and speed numbers and performance numbers, and we are ready to roll. Okay, so we won 115.7 for radio, for navigation.
6 miles eastbound 6000, descending to 5000, each craft.
Traffic inside camera 81.
Camera 81, thank you. Juliet Alpha 015 Echo,
That's
traffic
Kajiki VOR, which is right at the the airdrome here. If we need to come back and land, we're going to be using runway 34. So we have ILS Zulu will be the most appropriate. And we know that the ILS 111.7. Actually, I'm just gonna leave the VOR. We don't need the VOR, so I'm just gonna leave the ILS
Japan
here.
1891, you are leaving airspace. Airlines is terminated. Monitor UNICOM altitude is 8.
We know the course is 337.
Hasa.
Okay. And ILS for, because that's the only other
Here's
radio
the worksheet
navigation.
for you. Have a nice trip.
Thank you. That's the only other
Juliet Alpha 101 Echo, descend fire description, maintain 3000.
the only other radio navigation that we need is
Maintain
111.9.
3000 Echo.
Juliet Alpha 015 Echo, at pilot description.
So this will be the ILS
015 Echo.
and 117.8. Oh. For CHUBU VOR. So that's what we're gonna need. We have our squawk is 1501. Okay. Initial climb, flight level 170. Okay. Just before we finish on our left side here with our numbers, we want to revise. We got the final load sheet, so we want to revise the numbers. So you have a zero fuel weight of 54,129. And fuel on board of 68. Okay. So that takes care of that.
Kagoshima Relay P3Dv4 Papa, reaching 4000 Miyazaki.
We are sitting now at 900 feet. So we're gonna put 10. We can put 2000. Just confirm me at 900.
6 Kagoshima Relay, good evening. Your radar contact. Report spirit in touch.
As you locate your assigned seat,
Oh, that's a lot.
please place your smaller items 100 feet in front of you.
Avic 3
Okay, 1900 on MDA. This is gonna be our clean
If you need assistance,
output. And for
you are unable to accommodate any items,
takeoff numbers, we're gonna check our speed cards. We are taking off at 60,000 pounds.
Approach Juliet Alpha 015
So that's
Echo. This time request.
half. It's in between our two published on the table.
Do you need a TC advisory?
So we're gonna do 27, 27, 30.
Juliet Alpha 015 Echo, TC advisory ですか?
Approach runway Miyazaki, runway 27.
Juliet Alpha 015 Echo, sorry, again.
This time request visual runway 27 approach please.
Juliet Alpha 015 Echo, confirm.
Then we're gonna do
to visual approach runway 27.
39.
Sorry, this time request Alpha visual runway 27 please.
Juliet Alpha 015 Echo, Roger. This time turn left heading 360, descend and maintain 1600.
And
360, 1500 Alpha Echo.
Yeah, P3 Papa, cancel F4.
And that's that.
P3 Papa, got it. Yeah, P3 Papa, cancel F4. Yeah, P3 Papa, Roger. Maintain VMC.
If we need to lane, come back a lane. We will set the MDA to the proper MDA, which was always good to double check here to have in the back of our mind. So it's 1059.
Juliet Alpha 015 Echo, just confirm, descend 1600.
Okay, let's disconnect external power.
1600 Alpha Echo.
Cockpit to ground. Please disconnect external power.
Roger. Disconnecting the GPU.
300, press 27, Alpha Echo.
Captain, the GPU is now disconnected.
Thank you. 24-hour system
Happy
checklist, please.
J203 Papa, descending to 3500, leave frequency.
24-hour system
Happy
checklist, please.
J203 Papa,
Engine fire
scope
detection.
for the
APU fire detection.
Test.
Baggage smoke warning aft and forward.
Test.
Stall warning test 1 and 2.
Test.
ADC 1 and 2.
Test.
Auto feather.
Test.
GPWS TCAS. Test. PA system.
Test.
Trims.
Test.
24-hour system checks. Checklist complete.
Terminal H1, you are reading my airspace, real summit 788, monitor UNICOM, altitude decimal A, 673.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, I'd like to wish you a very warm welcome aboard our Dash 8 Q400. The cabin crew
Terminal
will
H1,
shortly
you are
be
reading my
conducting a
airspace,
safety
real summit
brief. We do ask that
788,
you
monitor
give us your full
UNICOM, altitude
attention,
decimal A,
even if you
673.
fly frequently, as there may be things different, in particular to this aircraft. In the meantime, sit back, relax, and we'll be on our way very shortly.
IX 346, you are reading my airspace, real summit 788, monitor UNICOM, altitude decimal A, 673.
Hi, Captain. The cabin is ready to go.
Thank you.
If you need anything, just let me know.
Bye.
Before start checklist.
Stand by.
Filter for 015 Echo, airport 12 o'clock, 12 miles.
Originating checks flow.
05 Echo, airport.
Complete.
Complete.
Filter for
Clear
015
pits.
Echo,
Stow. Pre-flight
Straightening number
checks.
87,
Complete.
clear visual approach, number
Complete.
87.
External power. APU voltage.
On check for 6 volts.
Filter for 015 Echo,
Check.
contact Miyazaki Tower, 1 mile,
Checked.
80 miles.
Escape hatch.
Closed.
Nose steering.
Off.
05 Echo, thank you.
Flight guidance control
Nine.
panel. Set.
Terminal
Fuel
01, you are
quantity.
reading my airspace, real summit 788,
pounds on
monitor
board.
UNICOM, altitude decimal A, 673.
679 pounds are required. £6,740 required.
Hydraulic number 3 pressure.
Check 3000 psi.
Emergency brake. Pressure.
Park checked.
Power levers.
Disc.
Condition levers.
Fuel off.
Emergency light switch.
Arm.
Fasten seatbelt switch.
On.
On. Departure briefing.
Complete.
Complete. Before start checklist complete.
Thank you. Engine start checklist.
Battery master main auxiliary standby.
On.
Doors fueling lights.
Close and out.
Anti-collision light.
Red.
APU bleed.
Off.
Engine clear on 2.
Clear on 2.
Engine start checklist complete.
Kagoshima radar, Halfwing 358 at stain 12, ready to start.
Alpha 358 Kagoshima, radar roger. Taxi, you can start up and report when ready for taxi.
Clear to start and we'll report when ready. Halfwing 358, thank you. Start engine 2. Starting engine 1. Start engine 1. After start checklist.
Stand by.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome on board today. This is your purser speaking. Please direct your attention to the cabin crew for important safety information. There is an instruction card in your seat pocket that illustrates the safety equipment on board this aircraft. Regulations require compliance with this information as well as all crew instructions, the lighted information signs and posted placards. Fasten your seatbelt by inserting the metal tip into the buckle. Tighten by pulling on the belt. To release your
External power APU.
Off.
Are you sure? Main bus tie.
Oh, you got me there. Off.
Ice protection.
Check level 1.
Checked level 1. Rudder travel.
Full travel.
Rudder actuator test.
Test. Complete.
Nose steering.
On.
Auto feather.
Auto feather select.
Engine rating.
And top set checked.
Batteries.
Checked.
Flaps.
5 set indicating.
5 set indicating. Auxiliary standby PTU pumps.
On.
On. Hydraulic pressure quantity.
Checked.
Checked. Hydraulic number 3 and elevator. Checked. Caution warning lights.
Checked.
Flight instruments radios.
Set. Checked.
Checked. Altimeters.
2998 set cross check. 2998 set cross check.
2998 set and cross checked. Ice protection test.
Complete.
After start checklist complete.
Clear on left.
And we're clear on the right.
Kagoshima radar Alpha Wing 358, stand 1-2, ready to taxi.
Alpha Wing 358, taxi to holding point runway 34.
Taxi to holding point runway 34, Alpha Wing 358, thank you. Okay. This is a Freeware scenery here. It's a little bit dark, so we're gonna leave the lights. On just for a little bit inside here. Before takeoff checklist to the line.
Flight attendants, please be seated for departure.
There you go. It is pretty nice for being Freeware.
FA notification received. Takeoff briefing complete. Cabin PA complete. Condition levers.
Max.
Max. Trims.
3 set.
3 set. Takeoff warning test. Check.
Tested.
Flight controls checked and free. Flight, taxi.
Flight.
Radar, terrain. Radar on, terrain on. Transponder, TCAS on out. Takeoff checklist completed to the line.
I just wanted to make sure that transponder is on mode C here.
Hello, flight deck.
Sometimes it flips it, sometimes it doesn't. It's
Captain, they're secure in the back.
He always gets me. Okay. Oh, see, he left my screen. Actually, I think that was me. That was my fault. And also he set terrain on both, but he left the radar on mine. But that's okay, we leave the terrain on his side and radar on mine. That's how I usually like it anyways. It's very easy to just take a quick peek on the radar there, on the terrain there, and keep the radar here. The sky is clear here, we shouldn't have any problems, but it's a night flight, so that's the one that we want. Papa 1, Tango 1. Hold short is, hold point is Tango 1. Now I don't know if the Freeware here has the holding point or not. So we're not gonna get. Oh, there is. Okay, there it is. Okay, we're gonna turn our landing lights on and bring our strobes to on. See, it's so hard.
Alpha Wing 3580, thank you for waiting. Windows 300 degree 7 knots, runway 34, clear for takeoff.
Clear takeoff runway 34, Alpha Wing 358, arigatou gozaimasu.
Addons.
Below the line?
Bleeds min on. External lights on. Runway.
Runway 34, heading 337.
Before takeoff checklist complete.
On runway 34.
Check power.
Power checked. $80 knots.
Checked.
V1, rotate. Positive rate.
Gear up.
Gear up. Acceleration altitude.
Flap 0 IS 185, climb checklist to the line. Okay, so we are 2,000 feet, so we can initiate our turn. And that'll be straight
Climb
to
checklist completed
Conway.
to the line.
Thank you. Kagoshima radar, Alpha Wing 358 on midday 2, leaving 4,200 to fly level 170.
Alpha Wing 358, Kagoshima radar contact, climb and maintain flight level 170.
Climb maintain flight level 170, Alpha Wing 358. So it begins. It's gonna be a quick flight, so it'll be nice to. It's always nice to do a flight in Japan with the ATC available. It's a nice night here, so the weather is good. I haven't checked since I started the flight plan for this. I haven't checked CHUBU Nagoya, but it was good at the time. It wasn't great, but it was didn't have any major concerns. We'll check again in a little bit. This should be like I mentioned before, a real quick flight, an hour 25 gate to gate. So really, once we get to our cruise altitude, we want to get everything ready quick. Gonna make our 10,000 checklist call here. Props 850 below the line.
Climb checklist complete.
Thank you. You see the condition levers moving twice. It's because I have to move my actual physical lever here to match what he does on the simulator, and that's always risky. I had problems before that I didn't move too quick enough, and he oversped the plane, and I ended up getting into a lot of trouble, especially after just after taking off, when you bring it back to 900. So this is very this is very dangerous to do, but I have to do it every time. I have to match my physical throttle to whatever his condition lever, should have said, to whatever he's setting in the simulator for me. So that's why you always see, every time that there's a change here, you always see going back to what it was before and coming and setting back to what it's supposed to be. It's because I have to change my physical controller here to match whatever setting we want to have in at the moment. Okay, so our cruise altitude should be flight level 250. We should be getting that soon. No concerns. There's an altitude constraint at not below flight level 160 my midday. and we will easily gonna respect that. So as soon as we are clear of this area here and we are clear to our flight level, cruise up to our cruise altitude, we're gonna start looking into performance numbers. We're gonna clean up all these numbers here. I don't like keeping this stuff here. It's if I keep the numbers here, it makes me think that I already have set for our arrival. So I always like to clean this. So what we can do is at least the MDA, even if you have to bring it up again, at least I like to keep it at 0, so it reminds me that we don't have these numbers are not set yet. Especially on shorter flights, which happens a lot with the Q400 here in Japan. Most of those flights are 40 minutes, 45 minutes gate to gate, 50 minutes gate to gate. This you barely have any time. You even have to slow down a little bit to give yourself time to prep everything, especially since it's just, even with FS2 crew helps, the FO helps, but he's not right. It's limited, so you're basically flying, babysitting him on top of it instead of him helping you a lot more. He's he's actually babysitting you. You are actually babysitting him more than he's helping. So you really don't wanna leave. Don't want to fall behind the plane. Same thing happens with the Airbus. It's just that the Airbus is more automated, right? So you can set more easily. You don't have to worry about, for example, power settings or nothing. Here it's all manual, even though we have a kind of a pseudo automatic power setting here. You still have to make sure that you're not overspeeding, especially during cruise and descent. It's basically all manual, and the approach too. It's always manual. There's no auto thrust like the Airbus. This is all manual, which is really nice. I quite.
Outgoing 358 your Gmail airspace. For your time next monitor UNICOM, monitor A, thank you for that.
122.8 for Alpha Wing 358. Arigatou gozaimasu. Okay, so we'll be 22.8 and we're gonna keep climbing now since we are clear of his airspace. Yeah, we're gonna bring this back here. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, it's so hard some of this stuff to find without having to zoom in. I don't like changing the
US code is 6143 ident. 6143 ident.
There. Sorry about that. There's a light on the back here too, but and there's a map reading light here, which is pretty cool, but it is a much darker cockpit than the Airbus, for example. That's how it usually is with general aviation and smaller commuters, and the cockpit is usually darker. Okay, we have our radar on. Yeah, we do. We're not even tilting nothing, or there's nothing showing up, so I'm just gonna leave on down for now, -2, and we'll see if something shows up. We can cheat a little bit on on the simulator. We can actually see more than we would be able to, depending on the sky conditions. We'll be able to, so I can actually see kind of the shadows and have a glimpse of the clouds and everything, so we know we're good. So we're just waiting here for our cruise altitude. We have Mad Dog. We're just about to leave our midday to departure, and we're gonna be flying the Mike 750 to Mad Dog. It's a often used transition here in the area for Miyazaki, Kagoshima. Okay, hopefully don't have many hopes, because the controllers that are usually online here in Japan, they go around different facilities, right? So he can they control different areas every night. They are all online, and none of them are at Nagoya. None of them are in Nagoya right now. So I don't have any hopes that we're gonna be getting any controllers. But it's always nice to fly the Dash. It's always nice to fly in Japan. I will do a busier flight next time. What I can set is, oh, that reminded me. Let's get information on get our Unilink set it up to get the meter for CHUBU CENTRAIR. It's RJGG. Okay, so that's 1400, so 24 minutes ago. Winds at 320 at 16, quite windy there. 1411, and QNH is 1009, and no significant changes. So we're gonna cheat again on the QNH here. Going to 1009. Did he I never remember. It's always get mixed up with the Airbus. Yes, no, he switched the. No, he didn't. Yeah, so one of them switched the seat belts, if I remember correctly, and the other one doesn't. So I should have flipped the seat belts 10,000 feet ago. Passengers are not very happy. We can blame on turbulence or something like that. Okay, so we got our altimeter setting. We set it up on our standby. 2980, so 1009. Yeah, check. 1009 is 2980. So we have our star, ILS, runway dry, anti-ice not required, flaps 15, bleeds on, APU yes, and ASDEX yes, and will be a stand.
Are you ready for the approach brief?
Okay.
Okay, we'll be arriving by the ATC assigned star. As for the approach, we can expect the ILS. Landing runway condition is dry. Anti-ice is not required. We will use flaps 15 for landing. The bleeds will be on. After landing, please turn on the APU and leave the transponder on since this airport uses ASDEX. Lastly, it looks like we'll be assigned a stand. The taxi route will be assigned by ATC. Any questions?
That's checked, and no questions.
Approach brief complete.
Okay, I just made a small mistake here. We should have set the 220 for the MDA, because then he would have said that the MDA is 220, but that's okay. Okay, let's get our performance approach and landing speed numbers. So we're going to be using 15. Our planned landing weight is we have planned 57228, and the FMS is giving us 57062, so it doesn't matter. It's 57 anyways. So we're gonna be landing at 57,000 pounds. So we want 2211 for the speeds. So 22 for approach speed, and 11 for a go around. We will be, if we have to go around, we will be flying faster than that. But 111, we know it's our. There's our 1,000 to go, and to remind us to make sure that we have outcell selected, or else we're just gonna blow this fly level to 50 here. I'm gonna keep climbing. Another one of the quirkiness of the dash. You have to select outcell, or else it doesn't respect the altitude that you set. That's why you have that ding. You always call 1,000 to go anyways when you're flying, but it also reminds you to make sure that you have outcell selected, or else you're in for big trouble with ATC. Okay, we can flip this, and we can flip this. So we have just double checking 11190 for the approach. What we can do too is set the course right away. So we know the course will be 357 for CHUBU. Okay, so we are all set. We just have to ID the ILS, the frequency, and we have 178, which is CHUBU VOR, which we're gonna be using if we have to go around. Hopefully we won't have to do that. So you can make a cabin announcement, but before that we have something more important. Set cruise power.
Cruise power set.
Cross fuel FMS.
Check.
Okay. I usually don't do this announcements and everything, but
Ladies and gentlemen from the flight deck, we've reached our cruising altitude, and I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank you very much for flying with us today, and we wish you a safe onward journey.
also we don't want to forget that now we're on UNICOM, so we have some calls to make. Yeah. And now we have to keep an eye on our speed too. We leveled off, so if we keep the managed power setting there, we're gonna overspeed. So we're gonna have to bring the power back a little bit. And we can actually, we can also, I'll keep an eye. We can also work on our VNAV. So we know we have to be a probe above, not below 4,000. And our final approach fix intercept altitude will be 3,500, so that's good. So we're gonna go to, it will be preset guaranteed because it's published. Probe, there you go. We wanna be not below 4,000. That's why I have the arrow up. We want to be at probe at 4,000, so we're not gonna have any distance, and we can use 1,800 as a vertical speed. So there you go. We have now our top of descent, the circle. So we set a top of descent for us. Like I always said, we can always go use our rule of thumb there. 25,000, so 25 times 3, 75. So we want to be 75 miles from our destination to start our descent. And we can we use the other rule of thumb, our ground speed half our ground speed times 10 for our vertical speed. So in this case, let's say 360, so 3600, 1800 feet per minute for our descent. That will give us 3 degrees, just like a glide slope on the ILS. So we are creeping, getting slowly creeping up to our overspeed red bar there. We'll stop at 220 or something. It's a quick flight, so we don't have to be going as fast as possible right at the edge there. There's no point in doing that. You're just setting up yourself for trouble. So at 220 roughly we'll throttle back and cruise at that indicated airspeed. Okay, we got our briefing, we got our numbers, we got our MDA, we have our altimeter setting. We already set the course on the ILS. We have the ILS set here, and the VOR set, CHUBU VOR. We could have kept the Kagoshima's VOR set for a little bit longer, but it's okay. We won't have, okay, 220, let's bring it back a little bit. It's just a touch, because it was creeping, it was going up really slowly, so it's not that we need to throttle back a lot. There you go, that should work. 55%, maybe a touch less. There you go. Even if it's still going up or down a little bit, as long as it goes really slow, we have time to catch up and see that we are losing speed, right? 55% looks good. Okay, we got our briefing too done. Everything looks good. We just have our calls, radio calls, since we are on UNICOM. We're gonna have to keep CHUBU. It's quite well, not busy by European standards on VATSIM, but it is a major airport in Japan, so sometimes there's traffic there. There's more. It's more Tokyo, more Haneda, Narita, and Kansai, but CHUBU, I would say, will be the fourth one, together with Okinawa, Naha, and yeah. So we want to make sure that we make calls and we have everything set up properly, just in case there's traffic there. Yeah, smooth sailing as expected. Weather is really good. Winds are pretty close to what we predicted when we were doing our flight plan. So we are looking to winds of 62 knots. We're getting 59. Our speeds was we planned 334, 389. We're doing 319, 371. And by Manip, our next waypoint there, we should be 30 minutes in our flight. We are at 26 right now. And a few used 52, 47 remain 5247 and 1493 used. So we can go to our performance here, or we can go to our fuel and see the numbers. So we have our fuel on board left right now, and predicted at our destination, RJGG. So right now we have 5472. We are still 35 miles from Manap. By Manap we were supposed to have 5247 remaining. So we're pretty good. Really no issues here. So we can check our used numbers too. There's 5 pages on the APU showing fail because APU is off, but we can see how much we burned with the APU. So it's showing 33 pounds, and the total that has been burned so far. One important thing to know is whatever is it showing for fuel on the FMS, it's depends on what you put over here on fuel on board. There's no way for the system to know how much fuel there is actually in the wings. So you always want to make sure that you have the proper proper number input on the fuel on board, so the calculations can match real life what's actually inside the tanks right now. So this is very important to know that these numbers here for fuel prediction, they are linked to whatever number you have set when you were putting your your weights and fuel numbers. If you make a mistake here, you're gonna have wrong fuel predictions during flight. There's no way for the system to know how much fuel is actually in the tanks. It's not gonna auto-correct itself. So if you make a mistake here, you're gonna be in trouble if you're getting close to if you're expecting to be really close on fuel on destination on your original flight plan. So you want to make sure to trust these numbers here. You want to make sure that you input the proper amount of fuel in the tanks before your flight. As soon as they finish refueling the tanks and you get the actual number, you input that number right away. That's what I do when I get the final load sheet and I get the numbers for fuel and everything. I double check with whatever fuel on board we have, and I input that number here so I can get a fuel predictions and all fuel calculations accurate. Or else you're gonna run in trouble. It might be showing that you still have tons of fuel when you have 200 pounds left, or kilograms, and you're just about to to get both engines. You're just about to starve both engines. Like I mentioned before, the dash is not as automated as Boeing's and Airbus planes. Stuff that you might be more used to. There's a little bit of more work, and there's a little bit more satisfaction and enjoyment out of it, because you have to work a little bit harder and do a little bit more manual work in calculations in respect to in comparison to bigger airliners. Not that they are easy to fly for real, right? If you're following all the procedures, but you have a little bit more manual labor here with a plane like this one. Okay, so just over managed, so we can just go through our numbers again. Now we can get a better better idea what's going on. We have a minute to man-up. So 263 at 62. Winds are 60 right now. 334, 389 for speeds. Yeah, we're just a little bit slower. 31 minutes into the flight. We are right now 32 minutes. And a 5247 1493 for the fuel. So 1493. We are right at 1493 right now. Oh, sorry. Not anymore, but we were when I looked. So we're good. We have 5301 left on board. So we are pretty good. We set. We have our VNAV set. We have everything set for the approach. We're in a good position here. Navigation, the frequencies are already set. We just want to ident, like I said. We're gonna be identing the ILS, the localizer, when we get closer. Weather is good. We got the numbers. Everything's set. We have 22.8 just in case. We're gonna keep a close look on frequencies here on vPilot to see if CHUBU comes online. And we're gonna keep going. Another nice thing about the dash is the approach and landing itself. For being a turboprop and a much smaller and lighter aircraft, it's a little bit more of a challenge to land, but it's nice. You always want to have a little bit of power. You don't want to bring it to idle too soon, or else it's just gonna sink on you. Flies just like a general aviation plane. If you bring it to idle too soon, you're gonna sink on the runway. There won't be no time to recover. There's still a little bit of lag. It's not as bad, but there's always some lag. On when you're changing power settings. Okay, so our top of descent just by our 120 radial there. So that's probably what it is, 120 miles from our top of descent. Oh, forgot to, yeah. I forgot to OK it, our VNAV. It was set, but it wasn't. But it's okay. Now it's showing there. So 19 minutes, 126. You can see on top there. TOD 129 now. So 90 minutes. So see what I was mentioning before. If we go down 1800 feet per minute, and we are doing 380 knots ground speed. So I said 19, so half times 10. We will have 1900 feet per minute. Oh, it just changed. I was going to show something, but it's okay. It just changed, so never mind. So we were having a close to 3 degrees slope. That's what it was showing to us, doing 1800 feet. So that half times 10 rule of thumb works pretty good, even in real life. Do it all the time. It's the best way to fly a 3 degrees glide slope. set yourself up to fly 3 degrees glide slope on an ILS. Just get your ground speed, your approach. That has to be your approach speed, right? Ground speed on the approach. Half times 10. That's it. That's our vertical speed. You do that, it's guaranteed that you're gonna be good. You're even gonna pass your flight test on your instrument rating if you do that. We're gonna be making our first call in a little bit. Just wanna get a little bit closer to Nagoya. It's funny because our flight plan showed a top of descent between Jackal and Malin right here, but this is way too early. I don't know why it's showing that. It is way too early. Yeah, way too early. We are right now 38 miles from Hallen. And then when we hit Albat, we still have 120 miles. So if we add those numbers, 38 with 121, it's going to be 159, 159 miles. It's almost double what we want to have from our for distance from our top of descent. So I don't know why flight plan calculated top of descent should have been 156 miles out of out of the airport, out of our destination. It's way, way, way too early. Anyways, the thing that what's important is that we're getting there. It's getting closer and closer. Once we get close, we're gonna bring the seatbelts sign on right away. I'm not gonna wait until we reach 10,000 and we're gonna make our announcement before top of descent. We're gonna go through our checklist, descent checklist, and get ourselves ready for the approach, for the arrival. Not much to say really in this flight. That haven't been said many times on other flights. It's not as fast-paced, like I mentioned before, as most of the flights in Japan with the Q400. They are usually pretty short. This one is not so. So an hour and 25 minutes is gate to gate is considered a long flight for Japan standards on the Q400. So we're almost we're just about to reach another hour, so we're gonna be looking at a new meter once we get past 1500 Zulu. Our last one was for 1400, just to have an idea what's going on, and get an altimeter setting. Even though the last one was saying no significant changes expected, I don't think that altimeter setting will change or nothing too much. We're still going to be using runway 36 correction, but it's always good to make sure that nothing has actually changed. Small changes on wind or temperature won't make any difference for us. We are not punching in numbers for the approach. Everything's going to be done manually. So it's not that we want to have precise numbers or anything. It's just to have an idea that what conditions we're expecting there, especially ceiling, and if the wind shift a lot, like that we're gonna be having to go choosing a different runway, right? And the altimeter setting. But I don't see any big changes, so I don't see us having to change anything. Even if there's a small variation altimeter setting or winds, that won't make any difference for us. What will be important for us is just compensate for a crosswind once we are on the approach. That's what it matters. So we have the 320 at 6, especially since the winds are strong. So 320 at 16. So we have roughly 5 knots on runway 34, roughly 4 or 5 knots of crosswind. That's all it matters for us. is how much crosswind we're gonna have to actually compensate. And of course the direction that the wind will be coming when we are on our approach. So on our runway 34, wind's coming from 32, so wind's coming from our left. So we're gonna compensate roughly 5 knots of wind coming from our left. So we know we're gonna be deflecting to the left a little bit and fixing up with our rudder pedals. Depends on how much 5 knots will upset our approach. 4 or 5 knots. Okay, 2 minutes to Albert, and we're getting there. Only 2 more waypoints before our the beginning of our star. Cards being the second waypoint is actually the beginning of our star. So we're almost there. We're gonna bring this range closer a little bit more again, and we should be making a call pretty soon. Our top of descent here is now 6 minutes. So yeah, real quick, can you see the 1800 feet per minute is giving us a 2.54 slope. So we're doing now 401 ground on our ground speed. So which would have meant 2000 feet per minute according to my, if I use my, not just mine because I didn't invent it, but if you use the half times 10 rule of thumb, so you can see that it's a pretty close 3 degrees on a glide slope if you use that. So we can even for example, if you wanna be we can put 2000 here, because that what would have I would have been flying 2000 on a ground speed of 400. See, 2.82. So there's no human that is gonna be as precise as so you're good flying half times 10. You're gonna be right there on the glide slope, so you can even do that, like I mentioned, on your IFR, on your instrument rating flight test. You're gonna pass, and he's gonna the examiner is gonna be even more impressed if you mention how did you get that number. He's gonna offer you a job right away if you're a commercial pilot or going for your commercial license. He will know that you know what you're talking about. Okay, set a new heading here in case we have a failure on the FMS, or and we have, it's just more for when we have a ATC, right? You know what was your last heading. You always know. You always work. You always do everything you can to not put yourself in a bad situation if something goes wrong. So it's always nice to keep the heading, even though you're not using heading select. Always adjust the heading to whatever heading we were flying, or we are flying, right? In case of we have some kind of a issue, electrical or issue with the flight management system, we know what we were doing before everything went bad. You do that a lot on a IFR. Set courses on a VOR, set headings, speed bugs, heading bugs, everything that you have in your plane you always set, even though if you're not using, you're flying your 430 or 530 or whatever 6th generation Garmin's, the newer generation. You always set all your gauges and speed bugs and heading bugs, even though you're not, like I said, you're not using it. You always set in case you have a failure on your GPS, a failure on your FMS. You can always revert back to the old style, and you know what's going on. That will make ATC life much better, and yours too. Never just trust on never put your trust in just one source, in one system. Always redundancy. That's all you see in these planes. A lot of systems, backup systems, and that's how it works. It's all based on emergencies and failures and problems. So is your training too. All based in emergencies and problems, never on everything going fine. They all know you can fly a plane. They want to see if you can manage emergencies and problems, or how you react, and how good you are, and troubleshooting, and keeping the plane flying in a safely manner when things go wrong, and make the right decisions in a timely fashion. Okay, tune us, and top of descent. And our call. We are right now 98 miles roughly from the CHUBU, and starts south approach. CHUBU CENTRAIR traffic, Alpha Wing 358 Q400. Right now cruising at flight level 250. We are roughly 100 miles from the field, west of the field. We're going to be flying the CARD's south arrival, expecting ILS Zulu runway 36. And we're going to be starting our descent pretty soon, leaving flight level 250. Any traffic in the air, please advise Alpha Wing 358 CHUBU CENTRAIR. Okay, let's do our PA announcement here, which I never do, but why not?
Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, we're just approaching the top of descent, and we'll have you on the ground very shortly.
There you go. Descent checklist to the line.
Fuel balance. Check. Pressurization set. Flight attendants, please prepare the cabin for arrival. Cabin PA complete. Fasten seatbelt switch.
On.
On. Approach and landing brief.
Complete.
Complete. Descent checklist completed to the line.
Okay, let's start the descent. So, like any other plane, to start our descent, we want power, attitude, and trim. So we're gonna bring our power down. Set our altitude. We're gonna be going down to 4. We can set 4,000 all the way. There's no ATC anyways. And we said 1800. That's what we have set, right? Let's put 19. So always remember, climbing is attitude, power, and descending is always power first and then attitude. You actually do both at the same time, but that's the proper way to do it. Power first when you're descending, and then attitude. And we're gonna bring power down a little bit more. And when you wanna climb, attitude first, so nose up first, and then you add the power. Okay, we're going good. 1900 feet per minute. Can even bring it down just to make it easier on our calculations. Bring it down to 2000 feet per minute. Just to make it easier for us when we decide to, when we want to figure out how much more we want to go and when we're going to be reaching certain altitudes. It's going to make it for an easier calculation. Round it up to 2000. So for example, right now we can see that we have 5 minutes to cards. So since we're going down 2000 feet per minute, it's much easier calculation than 1800 or 1900, right? We know we're gonna be losing 10,000 feet by cards. Roughly, because we don't know how close to the 5 minutes we are here. There's only the, right? We don't have the seconds, just the minutes. And we can always not rely too much, but we can always check our VNav here, or our magenta bar there. I don't know if the fact that we didn't set our MDA when we did the approach brief. Let's do another approach brief.
Are you ready for the approach brief?
Okay.
Okay, we'll be arriving by the ATC assigned star. As for the approach, we can expect the ILS. Landing runway condition is dry. Anti-ice is not required. We will use flaps 15 for landing. The bleeds will be on. And for the MDA, it's 220 feet. After landing, please turn on the APU and leave the transponder on since this airport uses ASDEX. Lastly, it looks like we'll be assigned a stand. The taxi route will be assigned by ATC. Any questions?
That's checked, and no questions.
Approach brief complete.
There you go. Just to have him saying the MDA, I don't know if it makes any difference. Once we are on our approach, I just want him to, just want to make sure that he's gonna call the MDA once we are on the approach. I know on the Airbus, if you change numbers, you don't have to do another briefing, but there's no automated briefing anyways on the Airbus. So since this one has an actual automated briefing, I don't know if it only makes a difference if you only punch in those numbers once you do the briefing, right? I don't know, for example, if you change runways now, if you have to do another briefing so he will call properly all the numbers for a different runway, for a different approach. So anyways, it's a quick briefing. So I know, like I said, if you use FS2 crew on the Airbus, FS Labs Airbus, I know you can change even after you did your briefing. He will call the proper numbers, whatever you have input at the time of the approach. So you don't have to trigger another approach briefing. But here I'm not too sure. I never tested. Every time that I make changes, I run another briefing just to make sure. I should test actually one day to see how much it matters to do a briefing with the proper numbers or not. So of course it's always good to do it, but okay, just checking this star here. We're gonna aim that probe, which is right lined with the runway. A probe and probe is our initial fix on the approach anyways, so it's a pretty straightforward, very easy approach. Just double checking that there's no there's no link here, which is a discontinuity for if you're used to Airbus. So we're gonna delete this because we are clearing ourselves to the approach. So we're clearing the no link, and we have everything set up. So we were calculating 10,000 by cards, right? So we have roughly 2 minutes, and we're going 2,000 feet per minute, so 4,000 feet. We are at we just crossed 14. So yeah, that'll be roughly 10,000 feet. pretty easy to do calculations on those planes that have FMS and all this information, ground speed information and everything right at your hands. Okay, so through 10,000 feet we're gonna do our below the line call. And we will also want to set the altimeter. So what was it again? We have 2980, yes. Okay. We have terrain on one side, which is nice to have in Japan. And we have the weather, but the weather we know it's good. Shouldn't be a problem. We should set actually the altimeter to 5 and see, I forgot the alt cell. We should set the altimeter for 5 because there's a constraint by GG650, which is the next one here, and we're not allowed to be below 5,000. Then after that we set the 4,000 for a probe. CHUBU CENTRAIR traffic, Alpha Wing 358 inbound cards on the card south approach. ILS Zulu runway 36. Any traffic please advise. Alpha Wing 358 and we are at Q400. Leaving 9,300 to 4,000 feet. Alpha Wing 358, CHUBU CENTRAIR. Okay, so let's bring our range a little bit closer. So you know GG is 5,000. Bring the nose up a little bit, so we're gonna bleed a little bit more power here, more speed here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be arriving at our destination soon. If you're making the flight,
Below the line.
GPWS landing flap. Selected 15 degrees. Fuel transfer. Off. Hydraulic pressure quantity. Check. Caution warning lights. Check. Approach flare lights. On. Ref speed switch bugs.
Offset.
Offset. Flight attendant's notification. Complete. Descent checklist complete.
Okay, we have a message there. It's just saying that we are below our VNAV.
Checked.
And we know that, but we are safe here. 5,000 in this sector here. We know we are safe, so no worries. Okay, we're gonna try to maintain 200 knots now. That's gonna be our speed for our first.
1,000 to go. Out cell.
Checked. That's gonna be our first speed for flaps. You can see the card is here. So 200, 181, 172, 158. We won't be using those ones. We're gonna stop at 15. So we're gonna level off, so let's give a little bit of power. We're gonna need more power than that. I just don't want to go too much above 200. So go like accelerate, decelerate, accelerate, decelerate. It's not very pleasant. we can ident now. Yeah, that's what we want to hear. Okay, now we go down to 4. I know it's faster than we actually need, but I just don't want to have to do a lot of stuff at the same time at the end. So the airport is our 10, 11 o'clock there, behind those clouds here. Okay, and that's what we want for the approach. For a probe, down to 3,500. And we're good. Let's give some power. And that's probably where it is, the brighter area there. And we're gonna go call long final once we hit probe. It's a 15 miles final. And you're gonna bring your flaps into our approach or before landing checklist. That's set 35 right now. He won't go down until we actually set vertical speed. CHUBU CENTRAIR traffic, Alpha 358, Q400, 15 miles final, ILS Zulu runway 36. Any traffic please advise, Alpha 358, CHUBU CENTRAIR. Okay, we can go down now. Flaps 5.
Flaps 5.
Okay, so we have set now for ILS here. Gear down.
Gear down.
Flaps 10.
Flaps 10.
Flaps 15 before landing checklist.
Flaps 15. Landing gear.
Down 3 green.
Down 3 green. Condition levers.
Max.
Max. Auxiliary standby PTU pumps. On. Bleeds on and min. Flight attendants notification. Complete. Flaps.
Indicating 15, planned 15.
Indicating 15, planned 15. Before landing checklist complete.
Autopilot off.
Autopilot is off. $1,000 above.
Checked.
Too fast. Too fast. Approaching. 3, 6. Unstable, unstable. Unstable, unstable.
100 above.
Checked.
Zinc rate. 40, 30, 20, 10.
We go on Alpha 6 or Alpha 7, correction. So the reason why you see Haas talking about being unstable and all that stuff is because you have to set up the performance for every single plane, and I've never done that for the Q400. So even though it wasn't a great approach, it wasn't at all close to any limits or anything. So it's just a matter of fine-tuning RAS, which I never do, so I just ignore. As long as I know we're good, we're good. CHUBU CENTRAIR traffic, Alpha Wing 358, vacated runway 36 at Alpha 7. After landing checklist? After landing checklist?
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the conclusion of our flight. Please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the captain has turned off the seatbelt sign and the aircraft is parked safely. This will be your indication that it is safe to move around the cabin and gather your belongings and disembark. We'd like to thank you for flying with us today. We appreciate your business and hope to see you once again on a future flight. Thank you.
After landing checklist complete.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna be using a stand 202. Let's see if we can find us here. Oh yes. Showing as a gate, but it's not. It's just a stand. CHUBU CENTRAIR traffic, Alpha Wing 358 at Alpha 7. We're going to be taxiing to stand 202 via Alpha 7, Bravo 7, Bravo, Delta 7. Any traffic, please advise. Alpha Wing 358, CHUBU CENTRAIR. Okay, let's go. So we're gonna take Alpha 7 here. Bravo 7 is a right turn there. And instead of going Charlie 7, that's why I was kind of, should we go Charlie 7? Actually, let's do Charlie 7, there's nobody here. Instead of turning Bravo here, let's do Charlie 7, Charlie, and Delta 7. We're gonna be right straight to our parking spot. So Charlie 7, Charlie, and we should be pretty close now. Oh yeah, we can see already our ground crew there. So when we get a little, just because it's darker here, when we get a little bit closer, we'll turn the taxi lights off. Before we turn to our stand, which is right the first one here. Okay, so we can do it now. Oh, and I missed when I was turning the light off. Got disorientated for a second there. you go. First thing we want to do is start feathering of engine number 1. Wait 30 seconds and then shut it. 30 seconds and shut it up. Shutting off. Parking checklist to the line.
Taxi lights.
Off.
Emergency brake.
Park.
Nose steering.
Off.
Standby PTU pumps.
Off.
Power levers.
Disc.
Condition levers.
Start feather.
Transponder.
Stand by.
Fasten seatbelt switch.
Off.
Bleeds.
Main off.
Parking checklist completed to the line.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead.
Please connect external power.
Roger. Connecting the GPU. Capturing the GPU is now connected.
Thank you. Below the line.
External power APU.
External power is on. APU is on.
Condition levers.
Fuel off.
Lights.
Set.
Emergency light switch.
Off.
Standby auxiliary main battery master.
Battery is on.
Parking checklist complete.
And so we finished another flight. We can request the boarding here from GSX. I never use GSX with the dash for boarding and refueling because I always run into issues. So I'd rather not deal with not having to deal with it and ruin the flight. He's gonna ask me to turn to open the other side. I'm pretty sure. Maybe not. I'm not too sure. I never use, like I said. Anyways, there's another successful flight. A few mistakes as usual, but nothing major. It's always a little bit more relaxed when you're flying a simulator. You turn a blind eye for some stuff and you get a little bit lazy. But I hope you enjoyed. It was a nice flight, nice landing. Always nice to be back at CHUBU CENTRAIR. Be back to Nagoya. And I hope you enjoyed, and thank you for watching. As usual, if you have any questions or complaints or requests, anything, just drop a comment there in the section. And I'll hope to see you in the next one. Probably gonna be flying there back to the Airbus in Europe. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. Stay safe and have a great week. Thank you very much for watching once again. Goodbye.